Hey guys, welcome back. This is our second part of our video, and number 20 is kind of a tricky one because it's on two sides of the paper, but we see XYZ and XYW are complementary angles. That means they add to 90. You know what that means. And it gives us 3x plus 9, and then it's on the other side, so we're going to have to flip to the other side. So flip. So we get 3x plus 9 and then 5x plus 9. So essentially what I want to do is I want to add those two together. 3x plus 9 plus 5x plus 9, and I want to set this equal to 90 degrees. And the reason, again, why we're doing this is because they said these two angles are complementary. So we're going to go ahead and combine like terms. Go ahead and we'll subtract that 18. And we actually end up with x equals 9. Now, this isn't our answer. 9 is not what we want. We want to find what the measure of the two angles are. And so I'm going to kind of use some more paper here so we don't run over stuff. But what we can do is we can take that x equals 9 and we just plug it back into the two angles. So here are my two angles right here and here. And so we're going to just go ahead and say, okay, XYZ angle is equal to 3 times 9 plus 9. And that's going to be 27 plus 9, which is going to give me 36 degrees. And just by intuition, I know that the other angle has to add up to 180, or sorry, 90, not 180, 90. So what I can do is I can go ahead and I can just say, all right, well, if I take 90 degrees, I'm going to get my calculator out here, and if I subtract 36 degrees, I should come up with what I need, which is 54. So that means I know that the other angle should equal 54 degrees. Okay? And those are my two answers. Alright? Okay, moving on. 21. 21's given some of us quite a bit of a problem, but basically we just need to know these two angles add up to 180. Alright? Supplementary means 180. That's a key word for us. And so what we can do here is we need to go ahead and identify what the heck does ABC equal and what does DEF equal. Okay, this is kind of more of like an algebra problem. It says DEF is 20 degrees less than 3 times the measure of ABC. So it's 20 degrees less than 3 times that of ABC. I don't know what ABC is, so I don't know what number to put in there. And I don't have any information on ABC. So in algebra, if we don't know something, we just assign it the variable x. And now we can just say, well, this could be then x. So now we know what the two angles are in terms of algebra, so we can go ahead and just add those two. So the first angle plus the second angle, and set everything equal to 180. Now we can go ahead and solve this problem, and we're going to get 4x minus 20 and eventually get to x equals 50. Again, it then says, what are the two angle measures? Well, we said ABC is 50, or sorry, x is 50, so we know that this is going to be 50. So angle ABC is x, so it's just 50 degrees. And much like we just did on the last problem, if I take 50 away from 180, I should come up with our answer, which is 130. So DEF would have to be 130. If you plug that into here, you would get this answer. So there we are. Twenty-two is a great problem. This one says SQ bisects RST. Okay, so first we want to draw a picture of what this looks like. So I got to draw a picture of RST. And then bisect it. Okay, bisect is a key word for us. It basically means that we're going to go ahead and have two congruent pieces. So this is congruent to this piece. Now that I have my picture, let's fill in information. I always want to do picture first, then information next. QST is going to be 2x plus 18. while RST, which is the entire angle, is going to be 6x minus 2. Okay. Apparently here I don't have enough information to solve this problem. I need to know both angles, 1 and 2, to add up to equal to 6x minus 2 to do angle addition postulate. Well, I don't know what that other angle is, but in fact I do. Because it bisects, I know that this is also 2x plus 18. So when I write my equation, I'm just going to take both angles and add them together. So we'll add them together and solve this equation for x. Alright, so using our algebra skills, we get down to x equals 19. So we double check, make sure everything looks good. And the question asks, what is RSQ? Well, the measure of RSQ should equal 2 times 19 plus 18. I'm going to use my calculator just to double check everything. And we get 56. Okay, so there we go. Nice and easy. So 22, we get 56 degrees. Alright, 23 and 24, we get to some fun problems here. This is just distance formula and midpoint formula. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is I'm going to go ahead and label my points. x1, y1, x2, y2. And let's go ahead and use our formulas. So distances first. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and plug in. Notice how I put subtraction sign in from the equation and the negative sign from the numbers. Okay, that's very important. And two negatives make a positive. So right here I'm going to end up with, 13 squared, and over here I'm going to end up with 14 squared. Now, if you don't know these, use your calculator, but I know these off the top of my head. And then we're going to add those two together. And I'm going to double check that. I believe it's 365, but I just want to double check, so I'm going to be careful. 365, and then we got a square root at the very end. Now, if you have this calculator here, the square root button is actually right above the x squared. It's in that blue button. So we have to hit second, and then the button, and that will give us the square root, and then we can just type in our number. And we get 19.1. Next, we want to do the midpoint. And we'll add those numbers in. -7 plus 6. And we get -4 plus 10. That's going to be -1 over 2. This is going to be 6 over 2. So we get negative, I'll just leave it as a half, and 3. Again, as long as we plug it in appropriately, we shouldn't have any difficulty. Next one, we'll go ahead and plug that in. I'm going to go a little bit faster on this one, so watch me work. You should try this yourself first before you just copy down what I do. This one's a little bit trickier because we do have quite a few negatives thrown around, so we got to be very careful. Okay, two negatives next to each other, we're going to make these positive. -5 and a positive 8 makes 3. Add those together, and that's going to be a -10. So we're going to get 9 plus 100, or 109, and the square root of that is going to be approximately 10.4. Next, we want to do our midpoint formula. Notice how I'm still writing the equation every time because I don't want to make a mistake. Two negatives, when you add them, actually make it a bigger negative. So I get actually a negative, what is this going to be? A negative 13. I don't know why that took me so long. And this is going to be a negative 12. And then that will break down to negative 6.5 and negative 6. Okay, so again, nice and simple. We just got to make sure we're very careful with our numbers when we're putting them in. Alright, last problem, and we're all done. 25. We have a map of a city and suburb shows a local airport. Okay, so our local airport is at A, and an ambulance is on its way to Grant's Hospital at G, and it gets flat at the midpoint M. So what is the coordinates of M? So we just got to find the midpoint. I'm going to rewrite these numbers. A is the airport, G is the hospital, and I'm going to label them. And now we're going to go ahead and jump right into the formula. Midpoint, because that's where it is. It's somewhere in the middle between these two, and we want to know where it is. Okay. So go ahead and plug them in. We get 25 plus 1 divided by 2. This is going to be 26 divided by 2, or 13. And this is going to be 12 divided by 2, or 6. So that's part A. We found our midpoint by finding the midpoint of these two. Part B asks us to say, or asks us how far is the helicopter have to fly to get from M to G. Okay, so well, we want to go from this point to that point. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite these numbers, or sorry, points, 1, 1, and 13, 6. And now I'm going to use these as my coordinates for distance. Again, label my points, write my formula. Notice every single time I'm not shortcutting here. I want to get an A on this, so there's no reason to shortcut anything. I could, I'm smart enough to do it, but I'm not because I don't want to make a mistake. So let's go ahead and plug in. So we're going to get 12 squared. Over here we're going to get 5 squared. This is 144 plus 25. Add that together, I believe we get 169, and the square root of 169 happens to be a perfect square, so the distance is 13 miles. And again, we're using miles here, I believe, because it says in miles. So we always want to use our terminology when possible. Okay? And there's all of our work pretty much on there. Alright? Good luck, guys. We'll see ya later.